let me ask you something, and I want you to sit with it for a second. You have a job, maybe two incomes in the house. You pay your bills on time, you've got a car payment, a mortgage, maybe a little saved up somewhere. By every definition society gave you, you were doing it right. Write in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. I genuinely want to know who's on the other side of this screen. And if you're new here, subscribing and liking the video is completely free, and it actually helps more than you probably realize. So why does it feel like you're one unexpected expense away from panic? Why, at the end of every month, does the math just barely work, if it works at all? Here's what nobody told you, and this is the part that's going to make you either really uncomfortable or really relieved, depending on how ready you are to hear it. The normal American life, the house, the car, the credit card, the keep up and stay busy routine was not designed to build your wealth. It was designed to spend it, quietly, consistently, and with your full cooperation. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to see your own life from a completely different angle, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. And real quick, if you haven't already, hit subscribe and like this video. It takes 2 seconds, it costs you nothing, and it keeps this kind of conversation going. Okay, let's get into it. Here's where most people get this wrong. When we talk about financial struggle, the conversation almost always goes to income. People think, if I just made more money, everything would be fine. And I get it. That instinct makes complete sense, because more money should mean more breathing room, right? Except studies on household finances in America tell a pretty brutal story. People who earn $80,000 a year are often just as financially stressed as people earning $50,000, and people who earn $120,000 are often just as stressed as people earning $80,000. The number on the paycheck goes up, but the anxiety doesn't go down. And that's the thing nobody wants to talk about, because it means the problem isn't just income, it's the entire structure of the life we've been sold. You were handed a blueprint. Graduate, get a job, buy a car so you can get to the job, get married, buy a house because renting is throwing money away, have kids, get a bigger car, upgrade the house, take a vacation once a year, retire at 65. That's it. That's the plan. And most people, most hardworking, responsible, genuinely good people followed that plan, because why wouldn't you? It's what everyone around you was doing. It's what your parents did. It's what felt normal. But here's the reframe I want to offer you today. Normal, in the context of American personal finance, has quietly become synonymous with financially fragile. And that's not your fault, but it is your problem to solve. Let's talk about what this actually looks like in real life, because I'm not just throwing out abstract ideas here. I'm talking about the specific mechanisms that drain middle-class families dry while making them feel like they're winning. Start with the car. The average new car payment in America right now sits somewhere around $700 a month. $700. And people don't blink at that number anymore because it's been normalized. You walk into a dealership, they don't talk to you about total price. They talk to you about monthly payment. Can you afford $650 a month? And your brain, exhausted from work and life, does a quick check. Yeah, I think so. And you sign. But $700 a month is $8,400 a year. Over a 5-year loan, that's $42,000. And that's before you factor in interest, insurance going up because the car is newer, and the fact that the moment you drove it off the lot, it lost somewhere between 15% and 20% of its value. And here's the quiet trap inside the trap. Most people finish one car payment and immediately roll into another. It never ends. It becomes a permanent monthly expense that gets budgeted in like rent or electricity, a wealth drain that runs in the background of your life for decades. Now, add the house. And I want to be careful here because I'm not saying home ownership is bad. What I am saying is that the story we were told about home ownership, that it's always an investment, that it always builds wealth, that renting is always wasting money, that story is dangerously incomplete. When you buy a house, you take on a mortgage where, in the early years, the vast majority of your payment goes to interest, not principal. Add property taxes, add homeowners insurance, add maintenance. Most financial planners suggest budgeting 1 to 2% of your home's value per year just for upkeep. Add HOA fees if you have them. Add the cost of furnishing a larger space because the house feels empty. A $350,000 home, when you actually run the full numbers over 30 years, can cost you well over $600,000 by the time you account for interest alone. That's before a single repair. Again, not saying don't buy a house, I'm saying understand what you're actually buying, because a lot of middle-class families are house-rich and cash-poor, equity sitting in the walls, and not a dollar of real financial flexibility in their actual lives. Now, layer on top of all of this the psychological piece, because this is where it gets really interesting. There's a concept called lifestyle inflation. It's simple but devastating. As your income grows, your spending grows with it. You get a raise, great, but then you get a nicer car because you deserve it, then a bigger house because the kids need more space, then better vacations because you work so hard, and every single upgrade feels justified, feels earned, feels normal because everyone around you is doing the same thing. This is what I call the invisible escalator. You're moving, you feel like you're going somewhere, but you're not building distance from financial vulnerability. You're just moving faster on the same track. The psychological driver behind all of this is comparison, and comparison is relentless. It's in your neighborhood, your kids' school, your workplace, your Instagram feed. The pressure to look like you're thriving is so constant, so ambient, that most people have stopped noticing it. They've just started obeying it. A family earning $110,000 a year, living in a nice suburb with 2 car payments, a mortgage, private school tuition or extracurricular costs for the kids, a credit card balance that never quite hits zero, that family is often one layoff, one medical bill, one transmission failure away from genuine financial crisis. And from the outside, they look completely fine. That gap between appearance and reality is exactly where the system wants you to live. And hey, if this is hitting close to home, that's actually a good sign. It means you're paying attention. Subscribe if you haven't yet and like the video. It genuinely helps this channel reach people who need to hear exactly this kind of conversation.
Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Most people think of financial freedom as a destination, some big number in an account, some age at which you finally exhale. But that framing keeps you on the hamster wheel, always chasing a finish line that gets moved every time you get close. The real shift is understanding that financial freedom isn't about how much you earn. It's about the gap between what you earn and what your life costs. That gap is your actual freedom. That gap is what determines whether you have choices or whether you're just reacting to circumstances. A family making $90,000 with $2,000 left over at the end of every month has more real freedom than a family making $150,000 with $200 left over. Because freedom isn't a salary. Freedom is margin. And once you understand that, the whole game changes. You stop asking, how do I earn more as the only question, and you start asking, what does my life actually need to cost, and what am I spending on just to feel normal? That second question is uncomfortable because some of the answers are going to be things you genuinely enjoy, things that feel like they define you. And that's okay. This isn't about punishment, it's about clarity. There's also a deeper psychological layer here that I think about a lot. We attach identity to lifestyle. The neighborhood you live in, the car in your driveway, the vacations you take. These aren't just purchases. They feel like proof. Proof that you made it, that you're doing well, that the hard work is paying off. But when that proof starts costing you your actual security, when the performance of success is actively preventing real success, something has to shift. Not in a dramatic, blow-up-your-life kind of way, just a quiet, honest reckoning with what you're actually optimizing for. So what do you actually do with all of this? And I mean practically, not theoretically. The first thing is to build a real picture of your financial life. Not a budget in the traditional sense, but a full, honest accounting of where every dollar is going and what it's buying you in terms of actual quality of life versus what it's buying you in terms of appearance or habit. Most people who do this exercise are genuinely shocked, not because they're reckless, but because so much spending has become invisible. The second thing is to look hard at your fixed costs, the expenses that recur every month regardless of what you do. Mortgage, car payments, insurance, subscriptions. These are the ones that quietly consume your margin, and unlike a dinner out or an impulse buy, they don't respond to willpower. They respond to decisions made months or years ago.
which means if your fixed costs are too high, the only real fix is a structural one. That might mean refinancing, downsizing one thing, eliminating one payment, one change at a time. Third, and this one is psychological more than financial, start practicing intentional delay before any significant purchase. Not forever, just a pause. 2 weeks, 30 days. Because a huge percentage of lifestyle inflation happens in moments of emotional spending, celebrating a win, soothing a stressful week, keeping up with what someone else just bought. That pause is a filter. A lot of things that felt necessary don't survive a 30-day wait. And finally, start thinking in terms of that gap I mentioned, your margin. Even if it's small right now, treating it as the most important number in your financial life changes how you make decisions. A $300 monthly margin that you consistently protect and direct towards something, an emergency fund, a retirement account, paying down the car faster, compounds over time in ways that feel almost unfair once you see it happening. None of this is extreme. None of this requires you to stop living. It just requires you to start seeing clearly. I want to leave you with something that I think gets lost in most financial conversations. You are not bad with money because you're irresponsible. You're not financially stressed because you're weak or lazy or didn't try hard enough. You are navigating a set of systems, economic, cultural, psychological, that were not built with your long-term well-being in mind. And you've been doing it, largely, without a map. The fact that you're here, watching this, thinking about these things, that already puts you ahead of where most people are. Not because information alone changes everything, but because awareness is the first real move. You can't navigate around something you can't see. The normal American life, the one we talked about today, is not a trap you're stuck in forever. It's a current. And you can't fight a current directly. You have to angle out of it gradually, intentionally, one decision at a time. Progress is not dramatic. It's quiet. It's a month where your margin is slightly larger than last month. It's a payment that disappears and doesn't get replaced. It's a choice made from clarity instead of comparison. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be a little more honest, a little more intentional, and a little less impressed with what normal looks like from the outside. That's enough. That's actually more than enough. If this video gave you something to think about, subscribe to the channel and like this video. It's the best way to tell me you want more conversations like this one. And drop a comment. Tell me what part hit closest to home. I read them. I actually do. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.